On today's show, Ryan sits down with John Donovan of Because We Can Media to talk about how we're handling business during this coronavirus shutdown.
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Everywhere you turn, it's the same old sports talk, the same headlines, the same news, and the same boring information. This podcast is here to change all of that. We bring you hot sports takes, winning sports betting strategy and picks, reliable gaming industry news, and breaking interviews with some of the biggest names in sports business. My name is Ryan Knuppel, and welcome to the Noob Sports Show. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Noob Sports Show. Today, we are going to talk coronavirus. We're going to talk sports shutdown. We're going to talk eSports. We're going to talk lots and lots of stuff. But I'm joined by John Donovan. John, you've joined me on a previous show. Thanks, and welcome back.
Good. How's things?
Oh, things are well, man. They're going okay, I guess. I'm here. I'm living. I am coronavirus-free. Kind of getting a little stir-crazy, though. I'm ready to get out of the house a bit. But how about you? You all good there?
Same. I mean, the only good thing that we've got in the UK is that the weather's lovely. So it's nice and warm. It's sort of 20 degrees, which is very unlike the UK, which is nice. But the only problem with that is we can't really go that far. So appreciate it. So confined to the garden and everything else. But yeah, as I say, can't complain. Everything's good.
Good. Yeah, we have pretty good weather here in Florida as well. It's always good weather in Florida, but not rainy yet. Our rainy season's coming. I think I've went on more walks and bike rides than I have in maybe the last 5 years combined over this last month. So kind of opens your eyes a little bit to like, man, maybe we weren't doing something right. Maybe we need to mix in this with like real life a little bit more when things get back to normal, right? I mean, because good things about this for sure.
Exactly. Do you know what? And it's kind of, without sounding too kind of strange about it, I mean, I'm actually enjoying it. It's quite nice. It's quite refreshing in the sense that, people are getting out. More people, like you're saying, more people are jogging, more people are cycling, and just very randomly. And it's almost going back to basics. It's kind of getting away from the day-to-day grind of things, which is is essential and it's got to be done. But it's nice. So it's kind of refreshing. If it wasn't for such a bad situation, it'd be nice. But as I say, it's I'm enjoying it to a certain extent in the sense that it's really going back to basics, really going back to the fundamentals of appreciating everything you've got, everything you're doing, all the kind of things that you take for granted, like going out for a jog or just pop into the shops, whatever. It's now kind of having to be really heightened and understood.
I love that mentality, man. That's very much like me. You always find a silver lining in everything we do and just keep positive and just go with it. I mean, that's there's always negatives and positives. I try to stay on the positive side. So I think, hey,
we have to. For
what else are we gonna do
for everyone's sake? But
yeah. So how's business going? I mean, last time we talked a little bit about, Because We Can Media and what you're doing with everything and kind of really dove into what you do. I'm just curious, how you're handling this shutdown from a business side, maybe what types of things you're pivoting into, and maybe we could talk through that from each of our sides and really just talk through how business is looking, really focused, in the gaming sector, which is where we're both at. How's it going for you guys?
Yeah, well, it's weird, really. I mean, I was in. So obviously, when last time we spoke, we were talking about betting on Sports America. We were premium sponsors there. Then that was cancelled, which is a bit of a bummer. Then I actually went to see one of our clients. I flew to Costa Rica. I literally got out of Costa Rica a day before they shut the borders. So it was interesting again as well. And you know what? Business is good. I can't complain. It's one of those things where there's no sports being played right, but. And again, without sounding too kind of judgmental about it, is you adapt or die, and you kind of got to be like that, both within a working environment, but also how we are. And like we were just talking about, sort of people going out now and changing the way their habits and behaviours. But it's the same with businesses, and a lot of businesses are kind of they're either shutting up shop or they're like, we're going to bunker down, we're not going to do anything, we're going to ride this out. And I'm like, well, now's the time to adapt. Now's the time to evolve, look at different things. And I think, look, we work with lots of different brands, lots of different sports books specifically. But hey, look, 85% of revenue is sports for sports books. It just is. The rest of it is going to be your online casino, virtual stuff. But genuinely, as soon as everything was paused from a kind of what we were running from a marketing perspective for sports betting, those same clients literally were on the phone to me saying, we've got to pause it, but we still need to generate revenue. What can we do? we're fortunate. We're gambling in esports, and that's our strapline, and that's what we do. So, you know, it was that pivot towards, well, let's put them in front of the esports. Let's look at online virtual casino, all that kind of stuff, which is not really anything new for us, but the industry as a whole has to and has had to adapt to that, because there's nothing else. There's no other way of generating revenue. I'm sure there's some other things you can gamble on, and I've heard people now, taking on the next presidential election and, you know, sort of throwing odds out and lines for that, and that's well and good for a very small number.
Yeah.
But if you want sort of consistency, because this isn't a kind of 2-3 week thing that's going to go away, you know, we're talking months, and even now we're still going to be sitting here for a good, you know, at least 2 months, I think, in my opinion, before anything starts to kind of really start lifting. And when sport being played again, and they said that basketball may be played at the end of June. We've got the UFC, which is actually now they've bought an island just to actually, put the event on, which they're going to televise. So, you know, it is kind of now there's the talks and the conversations, but to get things back to normal, you know, we're talking months, and you know, it's adapt or die. So, you know, we've been fortunate that we've been able to do that.
Yeah, that's good. That phrase, adapt or die, is a good phrase to live by. You know, for us, from a content creation perspective, I mean, when you think of what we've done, it's pretty much been sports betting content. I'd say we were 90% of what we do is sports betting content. So the initial reaction, since there's no sports being played, is, uh-oh, like, we're in trouble. What are we going to do? But then that's when, as a business owner and as a company, you got to step back and think, okay, adapt or die. Or we're not going to die here. So let's figure out how to adapt and come out of this thing on the top when it does come out. And so, you know, that's the same kind of things we've been doing. We've been migrating into the casino space, and, you know, casino content is one of those things. This is going to get a little off topic, but casino content is one of those things that's been around forever. And there's a lot of demand for casino content out there, but it's not something that I've built my company to really focus on. But now I've always made the excuse, well, we have enough sports content. That's kind of our thing. That's what we do. Yeah, we could do this and we'd be pretty good at it. But it's like, do I really want to take on another vertical and get into that? Now it's forced us to, okay, we're taking on this new division of our company, casino, esports, doing content around that, putting our processes, our team around these other verticals. And I'm looking at it now like, damn, why didn't I do this 3 years ago? Because we're doing a great job with it. We're doing a great job with this. And guess what? When sports comes back, the business is only going to be this much bigger than it was before we, you know, didn't take that jump. So it was almost like a kick in the butt to like, okay, you got to do it now. And sometimes life is ironic and business is ironic, where it takes that little nudge to make it happen. So again, this is all kind of going back to, like, I know we hate that this is happening, but you have to find the goods and you have to adapt. And I think both of us, from a business perspective, are looking at it that way. And I think what you'll see is when we come out of it, we're going to hopefully, I mean, both of us hope, are going to be on top or doing well.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's it. And it's not a good situation. And I really sympathize for a lot of brands out there and a lot of agencies. I know a lot of people in the industry, you know, a lot of agencies that are kind of almost competitive space to us to a certain extent. And they're struggling and they're losing their jobs. Financially, people are going to be, you know, in a bit of trouble. But as I say, it is quite refreshing. I am enjoying the process. We're in a fortunate position. And I think from that standpoint, it's the same with you guys, is you've got to look at the different angles. We've got to look at different ways of approaching it. You know, esports was probably maybe 20%, 25%, if that, of our standard, you know, part of our revenue stream, put it that way. Now it's kind of, you know, it's all of our revenue stream, or pretty much 90%, apart from, you know, casino and everything else. But, you've got to look at people like the F1, you know, F1 now are doing a huge amount. They're actually streaming live, and you're getting hundreds of thousands of people, you know, kind of, you know, logging in to watch these events. NASCAR are now jumping on board. You've got all of the major kind of esports tournaments that have been cancelled are just kind of reverting it and doing it online. And it doesn't matter anyway, because everyone's online watching them, you know, majority of it. So, you know, it's refreshing, it's scary, but like you said, I think the great thing about it is the sense that you've been forced into it. You're handed to play, because you do kind of go down that field where it's just nice and easy, and it's ticking over, and you do what you do, and it's like, it's good. And now it's like, I've got to learn something. I've got to learn how to change this. I've got to learn how to market that. I've got to learn how to produce content, whatever it is. So yeah, it's scary. We'll definitely all come out the side of it. I think better off those who are adapting and trying something different. But yeah, I know for a fact, at the end of this, there's going to be a lot of businesses that have gone under. There's going to be a lot of business that are going to be financially, struggling. And it's sad, but now's the time to try something different. What have you got to lose?
Yeah,
I mean, what have you got to lose? If business is generally at that point, and I've been speaking to people about it, and friends of mine and people who have had their businesses for years, a lot longer than Because We Can Media have been going for, and they're like, John, we're pretty screwed, because most standard agencies, you've got the salaries that have been paid out, then you're basically paying out for campaigns, so then you're chasing money from the brands, and if they're not paying you, then you've paid out for your salaries and stuff. Furlough doesn't, is kicked in, but you don't get that money back until end of June here in the UK. So, basically, if you've got no cash in the bank, you're pretty much in a bit of a divot.
Yeah.
And what do you do? But if you're at that stage, then try it. What have you got to lose?
Yeah.
Generally, what have you got to lose? And that's the only advice I can kind of give to.
Yeah. And I don't want it to come out as insensitive, because maybe we've been fortunate to be able to do this. I know there are companies out there struggling, and everybody's in a different situation on how, I guess how lean their company is in the first place, or how they're able to collect money and things like that. And so I definitely am not, everything's rosy and great and every business should just easily be able to pivot. I understand it's not always that easy. And I have ideas around that, and I know you do too. And I'd urge anybody that's watching this, that's maybe going through some struggles, feel free to reach out to myself for sure. And I won't speak for you, but I know you're always open to a good conversation, but feel free to reach out. I'm happy to give any advice that I can give, or just talk and understand your situation as a business owner, or, even if you're an employee of a business that maybe lost your job looking for something else. We know a lot of people in this space. And so if there's a way we can help connect, or talk you through, and I'm talking to the audience now, but talk you through this hard time, don't hesitate to send me a message at any time. I'd love to chat and just understand what's going on, and see if I can offer a lending hand to the situation. So
no, it's exactly the same for us, and I echo exactly what you're saying. Is we've even reached out to competitors. We've reached I've actually made a conscious effort to reach out to competitors and sort of say, look, there's a time when you've got to fight, and there's a time when you've got to come together and support. And now, people are saying, oh yeah, it's going to put my competitor out of business, I'm going to do that. I'm like, no, dude, that's not what we're about.
Yeah.
Is that we're an industry where we've got to kind of look after each other. Of course, yes, your competitors, of course you want to win that business over there. That's the hustle. That's life.
Yeah.
That's business.
Yeah.
But this is a very, very different situation. And I don't want to be coming out of this going, well, you know what? Dave over at some kind of a agency gone under and stuff, and I'm definitely not going to be happy about that. You need competition. We need competition in a business and life, situation day out. And so we've actively reached out and sort of said, look,
good
support. We'll support you. We'll help you as much as we can. We've got campaigns some stuff that we can't even deliver because it's kind of outside of our skill set, but I know they can. So I'm like, hey, let's push budget your way, and we're doing that.
Yeah,
so, it's kind of working. So now's the time I think we've all got to support each other, no matter what industry we're and what we're doing. But yeah, as I say, that aside, there's so many other things that are kind of now rearing its face, and kind of your virtual, your esports are just absolutely killing it right now.
I got a question for you about the esports side of things. So I'm going to play a little devil's advocate of myself, because I'm a big esports provider. I mean, I love esports. Like, I love the concept of it. I know it's the future. I think it's going to be amazing. But I tell you what, I tried to watch Kevin Durant and whoever play one-on-one NBA 2K on ESPN. And I was all in. I'm like, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to bet on it. I'm going to be all a part of it. I'm going to be into it. And I watched it, and I was so let down just from the feeling. I'm like, this just isn't the same. It isn't the same. So I guess my thought, did you have similar reaction to that? And if so, is that just because we're so used to this, the real competition, that it's hard to watch that, or
real blood, sweat and tears, kind of actually seeing it physically?
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that?
I'm exactly the same. Look, and it's not for me to kind of to sit here and screw it. I can actually criticize because, well, I'm a marketing business.
Right.
I'm very transparent with my brands in the sense that, if they want to kind of do some branding with marketing for virtuals, or they want to do the kind of, then fine, we'll help them do that. We have the platforms to do that, whether I like it or not. Like gambling esports, I'm not a gambler, and I don't do.
Yeah.
So it's one of the
the personal your thoughts. Not your.
No, it was that, and there's a lot of people out there right now sort of saying, it's going to be the next best thing, and now's the time for it, and as soon as sports start again, it's no. Personally, my thoughts are, it's something for people that are those fanatics that want it, that need it, that have to bet on something. They feel like that's their life, that's part of their being. Not that they've got an addiction or a problem. It's just the fact is they enjoy doing it. It heightens the sense of a game. If you're watching a game, you want someone to win. That's one thing. If you've got some money on it, that just takes that next level. So I think from that standpoint, it's good for now. It will continue. Esports is very different to your kind of, I think, your virtual sports. And your esports is more your gaming, your Call of Duties, and everything else. So it is very, very different in the sense that your virtuals is just not the same. It's having its limelight right now. I think it will continue to have its limelight. But as soon as you get the real kind of blood, sweat and tears back again, like I mentioned, I personally think it's going to start taking a dip again, because people will be going crazy because they will want the sport. They will want to be at the games. They will want to see what's happening. They want to see the kind of condition of the players. They've been sitting there for 3, 4, 5 months eating a lot of burritos.
Who's been working and who hasn't, right?
So, it's, it's I think, look, I like it. It fills a void.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be the next biggest thing, or it's not going to be a thing that overtakes your life.
It really opened my eyes to how much I and probably millions across the world love sports. Like, I truly love the real sports, the competition of it, the battling of it. And I think one of the things that came out of all this for me is just that true appreciation of it. Working in the industry, sports industry, the gaming industry, maybe I take it for granted sometimes that, there's games on the night, or, just kind of whatever. But now when you don't have it, now when you don't have that game, you don't have that to turn to and watch, man, you really miss it. And you really miss not only watching it, but I think the culture of sports fans is to talk about it, right? There's something to talk about every day. And there's something to just sit down with your buddy or text your buddy, hey, did you see that? And we don't have that. It really has created a void in my life, and I'm sure millions others as well. And I think we'll all come back appreciating it more here when it does.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. And do you know what? I kind of think it's one of those things where people, the associations, like the NBA and the NFL. I mean, I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping and praying. Obviously they're doing stuff right. So and it will. But just like things like March Madness, everything else, that's been moved. I think these associations will have to do something, like the UFC are doing. The guys bought an island. There is very different. It's a lot smaller, and everything, and it can be televised, and there's not going to be people there. But my thing at the beginning was, if we can test these people, get them in, play the games behind closed doors, how it's going to work. I'm not an expert on it, but they've got to do something, because generally the amount of money, the amount of resource, the amount of people that are actually involved, not just the stadiums and the players and the coaches and everything, but the staff, the people that work in these stadiums, the people that work in bars at the stadiums, who are probably on 0-hour contracts and things like that, they will have to do something soon, because generally I think if something's not sorted out in the next at least 3 to 4 months, I personally think the last thing that the global economy, whatever, needs to worry about is the virus. It will be a global crash in the sense of, sport and everything else. Something has to change. Something has to adapt. And these associations, I mean, we're talking sport here. I mean, I know that it affects lots of other industries, but something needs to change. They need to think of a way of what they can do it, because there's only so much virtual stuff you can watch. There's only so much esports stuff you can watch before you turn around and go, look, dude, where's my
well, just on top of that, I mean, like the point you were making really of just how many people it affects in the sports industry, not only the players. People think of the players, but the staff at all these places, the people at the arenas, like you mentioned, and all of those people's livelihoods are waiting for sports to come back. And so it's going to be interesting. You know, the one I think it's going to be easier for a sport like UFC or golf or some of these that it's like one person kind of competing on their own, the individual sport, right?
Yeah.
Whereas these team sports, there's just so many more people that they have to plan around. You know, like the whole baseball thing, playing their games all in Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't personally know how in the world they're going to make that work. They got to have agreement from all these players, all these teams. And I've already been reading things about like players like, wait, you expect me to go to Arizona for 4 months and not see my family or not, you know, do this or that? That doesn't really make sense. So how are they going to get agreement? It's easy to get an agreement from 10 UFC fighters,
Yeah.
but how are you going to get agreement from thousands of baseball players and teams and all of that? It's going to be difficult to really change the dynamic of the league that much in those types of big sports. I think they're going to have to reevaluate that. I think I don't think that's going to be feasible in my opinion, but we'll see.
And then you kind of look at the, you know, and if you go even deeper into that, then you start looking at, they're only really doing that so they get the games played, and obviously then you look at the gambling industry in regards to what's happening there. But then you look at the data, then you start really deep and look at the data. So you're putting on the data to sort of say, well, you know, do they get a home advantage? No, they're not getting that. Is that going to affect their play and stuff? So then you kind of almost people that are really, you know, the hardcore gamblers out there and people that are betting that really look at the data and the stats and the analytics and everything else. That's thrown out the window, dude. I mean,
done.
good luck with that one. I mean,
they're playing 7-inning games or they're playing this and that. Yeah, no.
So you know, it's really going to mix things up, even if they do get things moving again.
Yeah.
Like you said. But hey, look, you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
They're still doing the draft. There's still obviously some stuff that's starting to kick off.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of still bad in the US there, but you know, from a UK standpoint, things are slowing down.
Yeah.
You know, they are now having conversations around football, as in soccer, when they can start that up again. They're hoping in the next, you know, at least 6 weeks or so, they can start playing, you know, some games.
Yep.
Again, behind closed doors. So, you know, hopefully it's going in the right direction. But I think the main thing, like anything, you know, everyone's got to stay safe. Everyone's got to stay, you know, well and healthy. And you know, there's no point risking it just for a game.
We love to talk sports, but we have to keep what's important in mind as well. So we're talking sports and sports betting here today, but your point there, you know, make sure we keep our priorities and our social distancing and all of that in check and make sure we're not breaking those rules until we're allowed to.
Exactly. But,
well, cool, buddy. I mean, I really appreciate you joining me. I don't want to keep you all day. I think this was really just meant to touch base with you. I knew you had some nice takes on what's going on in the industry and in the world today. And I always love joining forces and talking and getting your input on things. So definitely appreciate it. And I wish you luck, and let's just keep in touch. And any last words for the audience here before we go?
Just as I say, stay safe, and as before, if anyone wants to kind of reach out to me, as before, john@becausewecannmedia.com. We're here to help, listen, do whatever we can at the moment, because I think we all need to support each other as much as we can. So just take it easy and stay safe.
Yeah, likewise here. I mean, I already mentioned it, but reach out to me as well. You can find us both on LinkedIn, and I'll put some links in our notes here for this as well. Hey, will you be attending either of these or any of these virtual conferences? I know you mentioned being a premium sponsor of SBC, the Betting on Sports America event, but now they're doing this digital version of it. Does that relate to you at all? Or, I mean, I'm sure you'll be attending, but are you still a sponsor? How does that work?
They reached out to me. You know, as I said before, I think, you know, with Because We Can Media, even though we are an international brand, the whole premium sponsor thing for us was really kind of solidifying our steps into the US, because you know the US is big.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we've got clients that are sitting in Canada and places like that now. So it was for us to just really solidify ourselves into that market. So we still want to do that. We're still having discussions with people. We're kind of interviewing, which is almost a good time, because again, there's a lot of people that are losing their jobs. So you know, as much without sounding kind of too kind of you know, taking advantage of the situation, but there's a lot of great people out there right now.
Oh yeah.
We are kind of now sort of saying, well, look, let's go on. So yes, we will try to be involved on that side of things, and we will be continuing to attend some of these virtual conferences.
Yeah, it's not the same. Virtual's just not the same. It's going to be fun, but we can't share a beer together.
It's not. It's the same as the kind of virtual sports, really.
Yeah.
But then when I get on there, I'm just like, yeah, well, but yeah, we'll see. We want to carry on supporting it, and we want to carry on doing that. But fingers crossed that time there'll be some events that we can actually attend and continue, obviously, that push.
For sure. All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate you joining me, and everybody listening or watching this. Definitely appreciate you guys always tuning into what we do. We appreciate that more than you know. So, John, have a great day, and stay safe there.
All the best.
All right, buddy. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Noob Sports Show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing to our iTunes channel today. Plus, visit us at noobsports.com for more picks, previews, strategy, and news. That's knupsports.com.